tornadoes. They're terrifying, destructive, in a way kind of beautiful. I mean, at least to me, because I really enjoy weather and storms, but before anything, I'd say destructive and dangerous fits the bill. And I don't have to tell you about the damage a tornado can do. You probably already know that. They can tear homes from foundations, rip cars from highways, cows from fields, tear down skyscrapers, and also destroy or take trains. And believe it or not, in my case, this happened not too far from home not long ago. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of a train meeting this exact same weather phenomenon, and what exactly happened when it did. So, with all of that being said, let's jump into it. Our story takes place in 2021, October 10th. A violent and long-tracked storm makes its way across western Kentucky, even producing that of an EF4 tornado, which, if you didn't know, is very severe. Now, this tornado lasted for about 2 hours and 54 minutes, but in that time managed to give a widespread destruction, with winds reaching as high as 190 miles per hour and fatalities racked up as high as 57. 58 if you count another who was killed indirectly. And to boot, over 515 injured people as it moved across 3 different counties, those being Graves County, Hopkins County, and Muhlenberg County, each seeing their own list of injuries and also adding to that fatality list. Now, reports of damage tend to vary, but some say over 4,000 structures were damaged and many families were left with nowhere to go. Mayfield, which saw a large part of this damage, reported their housing authority to have over 700 requests for single-bedroom housing accommodations. And on December 11th, a state of emergency was finally declared, in which victims and relief efforts were put into place. And it's around the 11th the real story today starts to happen. That was kind of a pretext. You see, this storm event was very late in the night, and when a severe weather event like this actually happens, say a tornado, any train or working crew will be alerted by the nearest communication center of whatever the weather or situation itself entails. Say again, something like a tornado happens, the engines are usually instructed to stop until all danger passes. Then once crews come in and inspect the track for any damage and safety, they then continue on. And largely that's what happened here with our engine in question, CSX Q500. Now, this engine found itself stopped near Arlington, Kentucky. And while time estimates vary depending on where you look, this engine came into contact with the storm and tornado we were just talking about shortly before or after midnight on the 10th going into the 11th. Now, thankfully, in terms of this actual engine derailment, there were no fatalities, even from the crew. But workers on scene were still mortified to find that one car had traveled over 75 yards from the scene up a hill, and another had landed on top of a house. CSX would initially report these cars to be unloaded, but as these images show, at least one of these hoppers was loaded with something that had spilled out after the accident. Now, this is terrifying for a number of reasons. When you think of trains, you think of large iron beasts that are undefeated in strength, massive machines that you couldn't even dream of moving by yourself. But this storm and storms like it turned them into the equivalent of models being handled by a child, just thrown around and carried with no care of where they land. As if tornadoes couldn't get any more scary. Imagine being close enough to a train yard where one of those several-ton anythings could be turned into a projectile. But also, how fortunate. As reported, there were no immediate deaths on this scene. Lots and lots of damage, but let's be real, the best case did somehow happen. Maybe not for the pocket of CSX, though. Crews would quickly work to clear the tracks and repair them. Q500 was put back into service, and with that... Well, a similar thing happened only weeks later in January 3rd of 2022, this being in downtown Hopkinsville, and halting CSX traffic yet again. Now, thankfully in this case, it was a much smaller tornado and storm, but still enough to damage entire track and signal systems. This storm produced that of an EF2 tornado and resulted in 3 different engines being stopped, before they reached the said damage, those being N015, IO25, and G413. What's the moral of this story, ladies and gentlemen? I don't really know. Really, this is just two interests I have clashing. But if anything, remember to always have a plan for when or if severe weather ever comes your way. Be aware of your surroundings, where your house is located, and above all else, just make sure you stay safe out there. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for even more train content. Really quick, huge shout out and thank you to my patrons for making videos like this possible. If you want to join these beautiful people on screen and see videos or projects like this early, be sure to check the link in the description. And ladies and gentlemen, I guess with all that being said, hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one.
Either subscribe, donate, or get the fuck out.